Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest. Now, a couple days ago we made a video breaking down all of the rumors surrounding the possible deal of Serge Ibaka to the Minnesota Timberwolves in exchange for all-star shooting guard Jimmy Butler. Now, I broke down in that video how, from an objective NBA fan, right, not as a Raptors fan, because obviously I'd want this deal to happen, I'm going to convince myself it's fair regardless, but from an objective NBA lens, it doesn't seem like a deal that could possibly go through, like it just doesn't make sense. But this was similar to the Kawhi rumors earlier in the summer, a couple weeks before that move actually happened. Right? Every Raptors fan, we wanted Kawhi. Everyone thought it'd be great to get him, but no one thought it was realistic, right? Even Masai Ujiri didn't think it was realistic, and he was the one making negotiations. That's why he told DeMar DeRozan nothing was going to happen, right? So we looked at these rumors, but like those Kawhi rumors, those crazy unsourced things that were going around the media, things started to develop. And currently, things are starting to develop with Jimmy Butler's situation in Minnesota and maybe inching closer to becoming a Toronto Raptor. So we're going to break that down in this video here today. So we'll get straight into it. According to Shams, Jimmy Butler is seriously contemplating his future with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Apparently, he's having a meeting with Tom Thibodeau tomorrow, Monday. This is being recorded Sunday night. And then they're going to break down Jimmy Butler's future in Minnesota. This is huge news for Raptors fans, as this gives some legitimacy, some credible legitimacy to the rumors that have been circulating. The only thing official that was coming out of the Minnesota camp when these rumors started to make their way through Raptors Nation was that they're signing Luol Deng and trying to bring back the 2012-2013 Bulls roster to Minnesota now in the 2018-2019 season. The only way we could get Jimmy Butler was to trade maybe like Joakim Noah, move for Joakim and then trade him straight up for Jimmy Butler. So that's the stuff that was coming out of their camp. But now we actually see that the Minnesota locker room, the Minnesota team right now is starting to deteriorate, just like Kawhi's relationship with the San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, if Jimmy Butler didn't want out of Minnesota and the Timberwolves didn't have any leverage, they would not accept a deal of Serge Ibaka and probably a role player for such a high quality talent. But now we see that things are not all bright in Minnesota, right? He doesn't want to run it back for another season with Andrew Wiggins and Karl-Anthony Towns and try it out for one more year. It's looking like he wants to be moved off that roster, and that's no sweeter sound to Raptors fans' ears. If you look at it from the Kawhi's perspective, the only reason we could land such a talented player was because his trade value was diminished because he didn't want to be in San Antonio. The same thing is happening with Jimmy Butler right now. Obviously, Jimmy Butler is not the player of Kawhi Leonard, but he's still a star that would demand a lot in return if we were going to trade for him. But the fact that his trade value is diminishing by his lack of desire to play for the Minnesota Timberwolves, that means that Masai Ujiri could possibly get on the phone and fleece the Minnesota Timberwolves for Jimmy Butler. Now, the original report that came out per Fadeaway World or whatever blog spot that was, they were saying that the deal would be centered around Serge Ibaka. And no matter how legitimate the reports become, I'm still going to be skeptical until that deal actually happens that there's going to be a trade this trade will be centered around Serge Ibaka. I think there would have to be a very valuable role player thrown in as a piece in order for this deal to happen, as obviously Serge Ibaka just isn't close to the talent level of Jimmy Butler. So there's been great debate amongst Raptors Nation about what this deal could possibly be. Right, who would be paired with Serge Ibaka in a possible Jimmy Butler package? And what should the Raptors be willing to give up for a move for an all-star player? Now, I don't think there's been much debate surrounding guys like Norman Powell and CJ Miles. Right, if they could pair Norm and Serge for a package of Jimmy Butler and maybe some contracts back, that would be a very fair deal. I think, as Raptors fans, we'd accept that wholeheartedly. Right, if we could trade, CJ's nice, Norm has some potential, but I think everyone would accept that deal. Right, but the big debates have been around guys like DeLon Wright, Pascal Siakam, and OG Anunoby. Fred has been discounted from these talks as obviously he cannot be traded. He just signed a new contract with the Raptors, so he won't be in any moves anytime soon. But we'll first take a look at Pascal and OG. Right, Pascal and OG have shown that they could have extreme potential for the Toronto Raptors, and it varies by fan, but a lot of people are very high on those two guys. They're not all-star caliber players yet. You look at them last season, they aren't even close to Jimmy Butler. They won't get that production. But a lot of people are banking on those two guys as being our highest upside players. are guys with the highest upside that could possibly become all-stars in the future, right? So would it be smart to move one of those guys now for a current all-star? Right? How quickly will they develop into the players that we want them to be in the future? Right? That's the question we have to take in before we, start moving them in hypothetical deals for Jimmy Butler. But then on the other hand, right, we have this 1 year window with Kawhi Leonard. If we blow it this season, he is gone. If we don't make the Eastern Conference Finals, it's looking like he's going to leave the Toronto Raptors. If we don't make the finals even, right, it's very likely that he could possibly dip as he's on a 1 year contract. So we currently, right, we're hoping that he's going to stay and we're hoping for the best, but we currently have a guaranteed 1 year window. And if OG and Pascal don't take a step forward next season, that could be the difference between Kawhi Leonard, a top 3 NBA player, staying and leaving. Right? We know Jimmy Butler is an all-star player. So I don't think OG and Siakam are as untouchable in a Jimmy Butler move as some Raptors think. Obviously, moving one of those guys and then Kawhi and Jimmy Butler leaving after next season would be the most devastating scenario for the Toronto Raptors. But if bringing in an established star makes the Raptors feel more appealing to Kawhi Leonard for future years, then it might be the move for the future, right? Everyone looks at Pascal and OG as the future guys, but in an ideal world, Kawhi Leonard is our future. In an ideal world, Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard would be our future. It's definitely more of a risk, but risks are what would lead the Toronto Raptors to possibly winning a championship. We aren't going to fluke into any big free agents or get any top 5 picks at least anytime soon. So trading for stars might be the move to win an NBA championship, right? Trading for stars that fit together well. Obviously not trading for Carmelo Anthony and Russell Westbrook to be together. Guys that complement each other. And just look at the last video. I went on a 5-minute rant about how great Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard would fit. Right? We need star power to win championships. And making moves for Jimmy Butler, it's worth the risk of trading a young guy with potential, in my opinion. But that might be a controversial take, right? And if I think we could throw in one of OG and Siakam, I think it's quite clear that I think we could throw in DeLon as well, right? I want those star players. You always trade 4 quarters for $1 in the NBA. And that hurts me to say because I'm the biggest OG fan there is, and I love Pascal Siakam, and I think they could have the potential to be all-stars in the NBA. I genuinely think that they could be that player, 2-3 years down the line. Hopefully next season, but I think it could be actually realistic 2 to 3 years down the line, right? But we need Kawhi Leonard a Raptor now. So we have to do everything we can to make him a Toronto Raptor next season, the seasons after, and make the most of while he's on the team. I wouldn't trade both of those guys for Jimmy Butler as, then the talent gap actually gets closer and then you factor in potential and all those sorts of things. That would just be a dumb move, but I would definitely consider getting rid of one of those guys. Now, I went on a long rant about possible packages the Toronto Raptors could make. Let me know what you guys think, deals that you'd like to see and deals that are realistic. Let me know in the comment section below. But there's other news surrounding Jimmy Butler, in connection to the Raptors I just want to break into. Not as substantial as the Shams report that there's turbulence in Minnesota, but significant news nonetheless. So a lot of people heard Danny Green's quote saying that I can just tell you that the city of Toronto is going to be hard to turn down after being there. A lot of people heard that quote. That was on his podcast. So shout out to Danny Green's podcast as well. It's a great listen. He's a great speaker. Very entertaining listen. So definitely check that out. But he said that in regards to Kawhi Leonard's free agency next summer, how it's going to be tough to leave the Toronto Raptors. That's very encouraging to hear as a Raptors fan, as obviously Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard are close, and it's great that people in his circle think he should stay. It's going to be tough for him to leave. But that's news that we can break down another day. The more interesting thing about that is that Bleacher Report posted that quote on their Instagram page, paired with a picture of Kawhi Leonard in a Raptors jersey. The quote is cool, the post is cool, but the coolest thing about that photo is that it was liked by Jimmy Butler himself. Jimmy Butler liked that photo, and I know it's easy to read into the littlest of things on social media, but NBA players know that they have thousands of followers watching their every single move, and they don't do anything for no reason, right? It's very rare that a player would just randomly like something because they saw it online. Maybe he's just trying to troll fans. Maybe Jimmy Butler knows something that we don't behind the scenes. You can write this stuff off as over speculation, but these are the little things that always come before big moves happen. Little things like this lead to big things happening. Like, you can look back to the Kawhi trade. We were called out in the comment section for over-speculating on the Toronto Raptors being given the best odds to land Kawhi Leonard. And then we ended up getting him, right? It seemed crazy at the time, but we got Kawhi Leonard. So who knows? We might be 5 Instagram likes away from landing Jimmy Butler. Anyways, there's some other things I want to put out there. Raptors' lead assistant also has connections with Jimmy Butler. They're close. When Jimmy Butler won Most Improved Player, he gave a lot of the credit to Adrian Griffin, saying that he was had a big impact on his improvement. So that's another thing that is also interesting. If we're on the top of the list of his desired destinations and he wants out of Minnesota, and we have the assets to bring him to Toronto, I think that's an ideal situation and should get Raptors fans excited. Masai Ujiri has proven that he wants to go all out this season. He's ready to bring stars to Toronto. If you're a disgruntled star, you're coming to Toronto. So that's what Masai Ujiri's motto is right now. So hopefully he can get Jimmy Butler. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think this deal is realistic? Do you think it will actually go down? Or has the Kawhi Leonard deal made us Raptors fans over-optimistic and us at the Raptors Digest over-optimistic? Let us know in the comment section below. You're the best for making it this far. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram. We're going to keep you updated on all the cool stuff, the cool news that happens. You're the best. Cheers.